But hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastic. And can you see me okay and everything? Hear me?
Yes,
Right?
sir. We can hear you
Well,
great.
good. Hey, it's Super Bowl weekend, right? Got your red on? Come on. So you're not all from Kansas City, I know it. Okay, so but here we're a little bitty small town, and we love competing. And that's really the thing, right? You love them, you hate them, you don't even like football, right? But everybody gets caught up in the excitement of winning, right? And everybody wants to be on a winning team for sure. So that's no question about that. So, Aaron and Corey, you guys, we have such a great team. But by the way, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a SNSD Senior National Director, right, with Primerica. My wife and I started. We were broke as church mice. We were, newly married. We had we had no money. We had big dreams, and I had I had been going to Amway, Rally, multi-level marketing meetings with my mom since the 7th grade.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I never saw anybody ever made any money at those things, but they look good and they smell good, And but what it did was help me really get into the self-help stuff and thinking stuff. So imagine at the 7th grade, you're reading a book called The Magic of Thinking Big, right?
Wow.
And so Dr. Schwartz, and it's just kind of like, man, if you think it, believe it, you can get it, And it's like, man, I got to find a vehicle. And but anyway, we started part-time at this. We found the company through a friend, and I was immediately taken to the war, okay, of us against them in the insurance world, because that was our first original crusade, right? And so, but we started part-time. We had $32,500 worth of student loan debt. She was a nurse. She made more money than I did. We wanted kids in a house. So I got to find a way to make more money. And that's when we found this part-time. Started 6 months later. We'd made, I think we made $6,000 in 6 months. Now remember, in 1982, that was a hell of a lot of money part-time.
Amen.
And so, but then we went
It was like
full-time.
$1 million.
Oh gosh, and so, it went full-time, and in 24 months from the day we started, we wore the ring, and that was no technology. Everything was paper. We only had one product. Okay, and if you can kind of imagine that world that we lived in back then, right? But one office led to 10 and 20, and today we have 110. I don't know, more probably 120 maybe brokers by now. I don't know. I don't keep track too much. But we are in about 15 or 20 states. And so we really, Corey, built this business just like the company talks about. You have a chance to go do something great. You could build a company within a company. And that's really what we've done. It was a legacy of legends is what we call our team, right? Our it's like any other franchise. If you own 20 or 30 Sonics or something like that, you'd have some corporate name. Well, this isn't a corporate name, but we just call ourselves a legacy of legends, right? And why legends? Because there's nobody in the Midwest that's ever built more 6 or 7-figure earners than us. Okay, so we're from a real proud hierarchy for sure in that. But hey, who likes to compete? Anybody like to compete, right?
Yes.
And so, whether it's your team, your base shop that you're in, our hierarchy, the company, you've always got a spot here to go after and compete in and make it happen, right? And so, the great thing about being involved with us at Primerica is it's just not just a workplace. You've heard it called a win place, right? And there's a million different areas you can compete in and go after and win at whatever level you're at, right? And
Right.
For those of you that are new, and those of you maybe just getting started or trying to really find your niche, Aaron, to compete or to go after, right? The great part about our winning environment is that we have an enemy to fight. One of the things Art taught us in the early days, Corey, was that one thing we know that we have this enemy, and when we have an enemy, we'll fight 1,000 times harder than if it was just for financial independence, if it's just to make extra money. But we'll fight 1,000 times harder And let me give you a couple examples. Think about it. We were all really too young or not even born. Okay. Like I wasn't even born, I don't think, when Pearl Harbor happened, right? And so the Japanese bombed and killed many, many of our servicemen and women and civilians that day. And was it Roosevelt or something like that? He just talked about, you've wakened a sleeping giant.
Right.
And that's exactly what had happened. Every guy, gal, man, they were coming into the service and they were like, we have a war to fight, right? Why? We have a cause. It's not just, we're not just joining, we're joining with a purpose, right? Let's take 9/11, for example. Right after 9/11 and that horrible event in our history, man, the men and women started joining. Why? Because they wanted to get after the enemy. Well, we founded this company, Corey. We founded this company because we were at war with the life insurance guys and gals. And no disrespect for the servicemen and women when I talk about war, but for us, it felt like our own war, right? And you may not realize it yet because you don't replace the stuff, but 8 out of 10 people that we talked to were like us. We owned whole life, universal life, variable life, you bet your life, every damn thing in the world, right? And that industry is nasty, deceitful, low-life scumbags that was selling that to our families. And they would lie to our faces and lie to our families. And we were the original disruptors. We see a lot of disruptors in this world today, but we were the original disruptor because we were disrupting the life insurance industry. We were the only company, and still the only company, that believes in 100% buy term and invest the difference every time for middle market America. We can get the greatest amount of coverage, least amount of cost, right? But it's not just life insurance anymore. We've had to fight the investment industry. They have high amounts to start to really get good service and good education and good knowledge of what to do with our money, whether it's your 401k or your IRA or just getting started. The industry doesn't want to deal with 70% of our country that are your family and mine.
Come on.
And we want to get after that in the biggest darn way because they have the right to retire in dignity just like everybody else.
Amen.
Are you with me?
Right.
Amen.
And so, now we're dealing with, guys, right? We're dealing with the DCI, the debt creation industry, right? And we see that in so many different areas, whether it's student loans, credit cards, car loans. There's so many hidden things in debt that just suck the life out of people's financial picture. It's not just the financial industry, really, but it's a total war. It's an all-out war, Corey, really, on middle market families. We're in for a fight. And unless you've been asleep at the wheel.
Right.
Inflation, gas, energy prices, food prices, right? Middle market America has been hit from all sides, right? And the stress, you see this in family. They're smiling on the outside, but boy, inside they're
Done.
trying to figure this thing out.
Yes. Yep.
And somebody said the other day, about $500 per family is what it's like somebody stole from them, right? And out of their budget. And if you haven't found out, here's what you got to kind of get a feel for where you're at and what you're dealing with Primerica. Okay, we're more of a movement than a job. Okay, Primerica is not a paycheck to us. If it's a paycheck to Jim Nye, I've been on a beach a long time ago. Okay. But that ain't I don't know. I can't find in the Bible anywhere it says to lay down and do nothing. Okay. So it's kind of like, I want to be a part of something. And now we're in an era that it's like people need this more than ever. It's like, oh my gosh, look at it. They're coming from all areas, insurance, investment, debts, all these areas of middle market. I was that person. I was that broke person at one time. I was that family that didn't have an answer. And it's all about, as founders, Aaron, we had dreams. We were broke, but didn't want to be, right?
Right.
We wanted to get wealthy. We wanted to right a wrong, correct injustices. That was what we were about. Because I don't care whether our price of the term was good this or that. No, we didn't care. What we cared about was the cause behind what we were doing.
Right.
And many of us, like you, I'm sure, we believe that what's going on in our country right now, it's a deliberately being perpetrated on middle income families
Mm.
in middle market America, right?
Absolutely.
What you got to kind of realize is that as you begin to tell people, I keep talking about to our team, I say, look, guys, you gotta come across like this is the way it is. You're the doctor, they're the patient. Doctors don't say, would you, could you, will you, mealy mouth pansy talk. What they talk about is, here's what you got to do to get well. And so people aren't going to follow you. They're not going to follow Primerica, big cars, fancy houses, big, all that stuff, right? But what they will follow is the depth of your conviction, Corey.
Mm.
You keep up what you've been doing. You're having great success. And then you just keep it up because that depth of your conviction is what they buy. People want to follow somebody that believes in something, that they they don't have to agree with you, but they just say, I admire Erin because she stands for something. She's meaningful. What she says matters. They don't want to follow, as Art would say, a dead, dull, disillusioned, dadgum crybaby, right?
Right.
Amen.
And this team, okay? I mean, in our business, it's gonna challenge your manhood and your womanhood. And winning the Super Bowl or winning the Super Bowl of life isn't going to be easy. But boy, is it ever worth it. On any given paycheck, I sit there and I say, unbelievable. I'm in my 60s and I get this paycheck and they keep coming in. It's like, man, I talk to my friends, what they're living off of sucks. Okay. And it's like, oh my God, they're just getting by. And everything they think about is survival a little bit longer. Everything goes up, but their rate, but their fixed incomes, right? It's like, oh, I'm so sad for them. And when many of them we help out, right? But a life of overrides, we get 67 paychecks a month. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? And so anybody have a bone to pick with anybody? Remember, when the Chiefs were so mad at the Raiders, and they still are because they beat us one time, and they drove around Arrowhead honking their damn horn in their bus. Okay, what a bunch of scumbags, right? Okay, and so that's what I mean by a bone to pick with somebody, right? And
Right.
so if you're like me, you got a bone to pick with somebody. Something you want some redemption, not revenge. Okay, that isn't good, but redemption. Redemption is different than revenge, right? Redemption just says, I overcame that and I accomplished something big, right? Let me give you a quick story and I'll be done. And that is one of my friends from college. He was really, really smart. I was not. I made really poor grades, but I did finally pass. And so college was difficult for me. And I was using him as a tutor. And he would help me. And he knew that I just wasn't grasping this stuff very well. And I didn't do well on tests. Fast forward, now we're in life. He moves to Kansas City and gets a job. I move here and get a job, working Primerica, right? And so I was telling him about what we were doing, and he was just like being nice to me. And yeah, he was single at the time, so he got involved with a little small mutual fund or whatever. And he just looked at me like I was this poor little salesy guy, and that's the best job I could find. Okay, let's fast forward about maybe 5, 6, 7 years, Corey. And so the K-State Alumni Association is having a big event, and it just happened to be at my golf club. Okay, one of the nicest golf clubs in Johnson County. And so it's kind of like, here we are, we're going through the food line, and there's the great big glass sculpture. I mean, the ice sculpture there, and where everything's really amazing there that night. And we've been talking to some really high level people, coaches, etc. And then as we're going in, and all of a sudden on the other side of the line, Corey, where's my friend Randy? I said, hey, Randy, how you doing? He says, Jim, how are you? He's like astonished to see me. I said, yeah, what do you think of my club? And I smiled real big. And so this mouth fell on top of that ice and just about, froze to death right there. Okay. And it's like, it's not revenge because he didn't do anything against me, but it sure was redemption because I wanted a chance at proving myself, even though I didn't make good grades, doesn't mean you can't win.
Right.
And that is what one of the takeaways that I want everybody to take away with is, man, this if that story resonates with you, you have a chance and you want redemption some way, you can find it here at this business. So hey guys,
Come
take
on.
it away. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words, and looking forward to seeing you more.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
That
I
was
got
awesome.
tears coming out of the corners of my eyes. That was so powerful, and we are so grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
And this,
we can shut it down right now and just go out. Let's go get in the field.
right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we don't need training. We need to get in the field.
Right. Any training any of us are going to give, right? It's not head power, it's heart power in this business. And that's what I was so excited about, is that it didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter your former failures or things you weren't good at, right, Jim? I say all the time, I was the person when I went to college. First off, I was horrible at math, horrible with numbers. And I remember, this is what's so funny. I got a letter in the mail my first semester at KU that was like, your kid is not smart enough to even take the basic math class. Like, they literally sent a letter, and I hid it in my bottom dresser drawer because I was embarrassed, because my parents were like, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. You're the first one to go to college. You got to go. And I was embarrassed. And then they gave me an instructor that was from Argentina. And I'm like, if I wasn't already confused, I don't even know what she's saying, and I'm really going to fail. Right. And the thing is I remember the day I got started in this business, Jim, just relating to what you were talking about a moment ago. I remember so badly I wanted to be somebody, but I was at a point in my life where I felt like I had no purpose. There was nothing that I was doing for any purpose. And I remember the day Carrie Cobb recruited me into this business, I said, I would be horrible at this. And she said, why do you say that? And I said, because I'm horrible with money. I'm horrible with math. I'm horrible with numbers. Here's all the things I'm not good at. Right. And it's crazy. We'll go to a job and we'll like tell them, we'll even fake what we're great at to get the job. Right. But when we come here, we're quick to tell everybody what we're so awful at, and all of our shortcomings and all the things we couldn't do, wouldn't do, can't do. Right. And that's exactly what I was doing. And she goes, I'm not interested in anything about your past. I'm interested in where you're going. I'm interested in your heart. I'm interested in who you could be. And she reminded me, but this is one of the things she said, you got to go through a struggle and overcome it, because that's the way that you reach people, right? People don't want some perfect human being that's never walked through the fire. They want somebody that they can relate to, but they don't want the crybaby story about it. They want to know where you're going, right? And so one of the things, and that's why people have to win, because people need our winning story, right? They need your winning story, Jim. Imagine if your chapter stopped at, I was really bad with my grades and I was going to Amway meetings. Right? Like, what if that's where your story ended? Right? But you were just like, man, I don't know. I'm not keeping count of the brokers that we have across this country and the impact that you can make for people and all the things. It's just amazing to me. But here's one of the things that she said, just to piggyback off of what you said right there, right? She said, you really believe that you've walked through and met who you've met, and you're about to learn what you're about to learn, to not turn around and do something with it, right? Like, you've walked through the people that you've met, not by chance, but by purpose. So the pain, the purpose, make sure you actually get the testimony from the test. Coach, thank you so much for what you shared this morning.
Can I just share one last thing? As we relate, you always want to relate to people, and it's Super Bowl weekend, so I'll relate a couple things there. If you remember, Denver wasn't that good, and then all of a sudden John Elway came in, and then they started really winning. Peyton Manning finally came to Denver, and they finally won. We had a few average quarterbacks, and then we get Patrick Mahomes, and now 3 out of the 4 Super Bowls we attend, right? Okay. So take that thinking and understand that your business is like mine. I recruited a lot of people before I found the guy that found the guy that found the guy that found the guy that found Shane Rudman. Okay. And that was just one leg. I have another $1 million leg where I recruited a guy that recruited the guy, 3 or 4 people quit. And then I recruited the guy underneath that guy and that person. So stay in business long enough to build a business.
Powerful.
What that
Hey, Jim.
means is you got to let somebody else, if you're not taking shots, you'll never get that shot to find that superstar in your hierarchy. Yeah, Corey?
Well, and I would say too, when Patrick Mahomes and Elway joined those teams, every other player's stats didn't get better. The other players didn't get stronger and faster and prettier and better and all the things. They just got a good leader, somebody that pushed them just to that next level, right? That next level. And that's what we have to do with somebody from day one that says, I don't believe in myself. I don't think I can win here. I've never wanted anything else. I've never been successful, right? We've got to pour ourselves into them, share our personal stories, just like Jim and Aaron are talking about, and give our belief to them. They can borrow our belief until they get there. Because I promise you, when Shane Rudman came here, he wasn't Shane Rudman that we know today, right? He failed his test 6 times. The guy was taking his coach on wrong market appointments. Like he was the recruit none of us want, right? And then he became, through Primerica, made him who he is, right? It was always inside. The Super Bowl team was always there. Patrick Mahomes just unlocked it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, if you all of a sudden somebody starts playing at a high level, I mean, Corey, you and Kristen are a lot like that. Kirsten's a lot like that, because that's because you all of a sudden come on the scenes, blew it up, got to RVP quick. Now your team is really gelling, and now you're starting to really grow from there. But they're because they're playing at your level, because you're like, you got a mad on about your former industry and that you came from and corporate America. Your mad on is about that, right? And so people are attracted to that. And so you keep it up, man. It's great days ahead for sure. So
Awesome.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Jim. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach, so much.